It's permanent. It's permanent. Looking at the data, looking at recent history, it would seem that transgender is potentially more of a threat if applied recklessly than, say, white supremacy. Okay, we have actual documented episodes where we don't have them from white supremacists over the past recent history.
He's looking at some piece of paper there, Greg Kelly there on Newsmax, looking at some kind of piece of paper that says absolutely nothing. But he said, we have documented evidence that shows recent history that somehow trans terrorists are more prevalent than white supremacists. Crazy. But, you know, who cares? He's talking to ICE. He's just willing to listen to any of this. How about some reality here? There's one headline here. Let's check it out. This Denver mass shooter, Lyndon McLeod, identified on social media, surprise here, as a white supremacist and a Nazi. Oh, also there's a suspect in Colorado that shot up the LGBTQ club. Also, they ran a neo-Nazi site. Crazy. Also, that Buffalo shooting suspect said he carried out the attack for the future of the white race. Still waiting for those identities that they're talking about. Doesn't matter because Benny Johnson decided to be a part of this whole thing. This happened a few days ago after this shooting down in Tennessee. The Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary. Lied. The Denver shooter identified as trans. Aberdeen shooter identified as trans. Nashville as well. One thing is very clear. Modern trans movement is radicalizing activists into terrorists. We're discovering right now that suddenly they're calling trans folks terrorists, which Elon Musk obviously there is promoting these types of things because Elon Musk is an idiot. But still, trying to promote them into terrorism so they can maybe lessen what we're actually seeing in front of our faces, which is this. According to figures from the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 131 mass shootings this year, and there were 647 in 2022. In total, there have been 2,861 mass shootings in the U.S. since 2018, and they're pointing out 4 folks. That would come out to less than 1%, far less than 1% over those nearly 3,000 folks that were, or at least instances of mass shooting. It doesn't have to make any sense, though, Benny, as long as you demonize the folks and then say, this is why we're creating these laws of hate, because we're afraid. First, they're afraid of who they are. Just, well, they're coming for me. Oh, my God, they want me. They're sexual creatures, and then they're coming for me. Now they've got guns, and they're coming for you. Now they're afraid of that. It seems like it's going to keep shifting.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it is just so sickening because, like, I mean, if you do the math, like, trans people are literally obviously underrepresented in the mass shooter community, I guess. Like, if you, like, literally the most likely demographic to commit a mass shooting in the United States of America is cisgender white men. Like, we just know this statistically. It's the reality, right? And yet they'll do anything to avoid talking about the very obvious threat of white supremacist violence in the United States of America, despite the fact that we literally have, like, I think it was New Zealand that officially, like, labeled the Proud Boys as a terrorist organization, right? And they're running around here in the United States. So, you know, I don't know, maybe we focus on those real problems. It's just so infuriating because, like, these people, they unironically try to paint, like, being trans as some sort of ideology. And this is actually one of those things where, like, a lot of allies do this too, and I also give, like, an asterisk, right? Every trans person is not an activist. Every trans person is not subscribing to some sort of ideology, right? Like, that's like assuming that every single woman is a feminist or every single man is, I don't know, a men's rights activist, I guess. I don't know. It's just a silly assumption. It's just ridiculous, right? There's no, like, central ideology that trans people are adhering to. Fundamentally, it is just who you are as a person and just existing as who you are. And there are trans people that have tons of different ideas about the world. I know this is wild, but there are trans people that vote for Republicans. Okay, so.
Crazy how that works, right? No, but then the thing is, the basis behind that is that you mentioned how they say every woman is a feminist, every black person is fighting against police brutality and all that stuff, right? And they lump it in there so that no matter who you see and how they are, you put them in this one category that then you can make sense of. But there's a vast array of people in every kind of background, demographic in the country, but they don't want you to have that kind of mindset because that will require thought. Then you could actually have some kind of an educated opinion on folks, but they need you to lump everyone together. So of course, then every trans person is out to come get you. Oh my God, they're fighting for this, this, and that. Maybe to not be bothered all the time or have legislation constantly against them or a gun gun put in their face. They can't go out and have fun and do anything they want because there's always supposed to be this constant threat of violence behind them. That's another reason why they don't want to give up their guns, because that to them is the only way that they can control other folks. It's kind of been that way through history. Emilio just told me that Donald Trump just got indicted. Am I right? Breaking news on the watch list. We're going to get those details. We'll probably talk about it more tomorrow.